Is it possible that your feelings for Dexter are the reason that you have chosen men in the past who have been either inappropriate or unavailable?
Because they're what? Not Dexter? That's insane.
Is it?
What the hell was this?
Yeah.
Leave me alone! Ah!
As a Dexter fan, I've defended the series countless times for its apparent decline in quality, underrated villains, and Season 8. But never will I ever deny the fact that sometimes Dexter doesn't make a lick of sense. Today, I want to discuss storylines I hate with every fibre of my being, and moments that almost put me off the show. Diving straight into the deep end, with the show's most infamous plot being when Deb realizes she is in love with Dexter, her foster brother. Now apparently, the actor Jennifer Carpenter was playing Deborah with unrealized romantic feelings for Dex since season 1. Unfortunately for me, this was something I found out on my first watch of the show. Can you imagine how uncomfortable I felt every time a hug lasted too long, or watching completely normal sibling signs of affection? For those who force themselves to forget, this plot is introduced to us in Deb's therapy session in season 6, episode 11, Talk to the Hand. After the failed attack on Miami Metro, Deb sees Michelle Ross for her usual appointment. Since Dexter comes up in their sessions a lot, Ross decides to dig deeper into Deb's feelings for Dexter. She is dependent on her brother, and based on their shared trauma, it's possible for Deb to have formed complex feelings for Dex. After all, they're not biologically related. Now my immediate reaction to this was, why is Dr. Ross planting seeds? Will she be season 7's villain? What's really going on here? But then just like you, I was hit with a scene so disgusting, it haunts me to this day. Not to mention, I had to watch Deborah's dream with my family. I wouldn't wish this kind of torture on my worst enemy. In the finale of season 6, Deb realizes Dr. Ross was right and decides to confess her feelings to her brother at the church, where Travis Marshall is about to be iced. In all fairness to the writers, this is probably one of the best episodes in the series. I mean, it's about time Deb caught Dex red-handed. But what ruins the following storyline in season 7 is the fact that the only reason Deb doesn't arrest Dexter or out his secret is because she is in love with him. Who the fuck thought this was a good idea? Can a sibling not keep a secret without being in love? Now before you tell me this is fiction and we don't truly know what we do if we found out our sibling was Dexter Jr., may I remind you what Deb would do if her father was a notorious serial unaliver?
To protect your dad. I would have done the same thing. My dad and I were close too.
So why on earth does she have to be in love with her brother to protect him? With how close the two are throughout the series, this one-sided taboo storyline is disappointing. It doesn't even go anywhere, and I'm pretty sure Deb was still in love with Dex till the end. Hence her being jealous, yes jealous, that he gets back with Hannah. I don't know if this is one of those weird writer fantasies since Michael C. Hall and Jen were married in real life, but it was just weird. But not even this could make me hate Deb, and to me, this storyline isn't even canon. I had to watch this shit with my fam. Surprisingly, I don't even think this is the lowest point in the show. The lowest point of Dexter is when they decide to add Louis Green. I can't stress enough how much I hate this character, but if I had to give a reason for my loathing towards him, I just think he's useless. Remove this man from the story and I guarantee it barely makes a difference. Essentially, Louis is a nerd like me and you, but he's smart enough to make a game with famous maniacs, including the Bay Harbor Butcher. He kinda looks up to Dexter, so when our boy doesn't approve of his game, he makes it his mission to ruin Dex's life. His first act of revenge is mailing the prosthetic hand Brian Moser owned to Dexter as a way to taunt him. I'll admit,
Guy's a fucking rock star.
but it does later come back to bite him, and it's the reason he loses his job at Miami Metro. Before this though, Louis cancels Dexter's credit card on the day Dexter tries to escape Miami because
I want to see Dexter lying in his own piss and vomit.
based on Louis' suspicious activity at Dexter's house while visiting Jamie, Dex breaks into Louis' penthouse and finds out the truth. Louis gets home and Dexter attempts to scare him, but we find out later this doesn't work. So Dexter sends the hand back to Miami Metro like I mentioned earlier and sends a video of Louis with a lady of the night to Jamie. Even more enraged, we see Louis drill a hole into Dexter's boat in his final moments before getting iced by Isaac. In all honesty, when I look back at Louis Green, I believe he wasn't actually supposed to be taken seriously. He's a ridiculous character that starts a one-sided rivalry with Dexter just because of an IGN review on his game.
This is about your game!
Also, I didn't even mention that he dates Angel Batista's sister, Jamie. Mine and many others' problem with this character is that it seemed like the writers were planning on going another direction with him, but then gave up. I personally thought he would be the main antagonist for season 7, but he just dies in the 3rd episode. I've heard he was going to be a serial unaliver, and take this with a grain of salt, the actor wanted out, hence the abrupt ending. I don't know. Louis Green was a character I laughed at, not because he was funny, but based on how pathetic he was. Take that as you will. Now for my final storyline, I believe this is a massive hot take, but hopefully some of you will defend me in the comments. In my humble opinion, Doakes is the most annoying character in season 2. Now, although Lila is in season 2 too, she's an annoyingly perfect villain. I already made a video on her, but I can't stand Doakes. In season 1, the dynamic between him and Dexter is amazing. However, when rewatching it, how did Doakes get away with talking to our boy like that? In front of the Huz? In a work environment, this could never happen, but that's about my only complaint there. He's still a great character. Yet season 2 proves this guy has no life. You're telling me at the tender age of 44, this guy has no wife, no life, and no kids. Doakes spends all his after-hour time stalking Dexter because he knows he's hiding something. But you're telling me no one at the department questions him about this. For example, when Dexter's out bowling with the boys, we see Doakes having a drink, looking directly at Dex. I believe Doakes was the opposite of subtle when watching Dexter, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's just how determined he is to nail Dexter that frustrates me, even though I know that's the point. But was I truly the only person who felt relieved when Lila took him out? Yeah, he could have stayed around longer, but he became a nuisance. A once smart sergeant with a keen eye to a crazy obsessed stalker. I think Doakes' gimmick was fun, but I got tired of it rather quickly in season 2. Though my point for my disliking of season 2 Doakes is weak compared to Louis Green and the Taboo arc, my true problem is the unrealism of Doakes' actions. Even though Dexter never formed a complaint about Doakes, someone at the station would have, since their one-sided beef was made clear to the department. Him stalking a colleague, whether he was right or wrong, is just hilarious when I look back at it. But again, he would have been seen by other colleagues time and time again. I think the way Maria spoke to Doakes after the blood work incident should have been much sooner, and that's why my boring way of looking at things here even has legs to stand on. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, because maybe I'm the only one. I love Dexter, but it's nice to acknowledge storylines that make little to no sense. These are surface level compared to other plot lines, so if this video does well, I'll be sure to make a part 2. If you enjoy hearing me ramble about storylines that don't make a lick of sense, follow the first rule of the code and subscribe. It may seem small to you, but it means the world to me. Have an amazing day.